This is West Coast Ramble, Episode 1 podcast. I'm Tom, and this is Jeff.
Hi.
Yes, and first off, let's talk about what this show is. Now, if you're on our West Coast Ramble Facebook post, I had a couple videos, and I was hoping it was going to take off, and we were going to get like thousands of people, but I think we had like 50 people look at it. So basically what I did is I thought, let's do a podcast, and let's talk about this. I was at the Belfuries 2 weeks ago, and I ran into Jeff West, if you know Jeff West, bass player, got his own band right now. And we decided, let's go ahead and do a podcast and talk about these things that we ended up talking like 2 hours after the show at the Belfuries about, which is music and some more music.
And goofy stuff.
Yeah, goofy stuff. So, Jeff.
Yeah.
Brought you in here to tell us stories about what happened on the road. So, first off, who are you? Why are you here?
I'm Jeff West.
Yes.
I was asked to be here.
Yeah.
And you had West in the title of your show, for one thing.
Well, that
had nothing to do with it.
But maybe it was serendipitous or
Yeah.
fortuitous or good luck.
Yeah, could be. All of the above.
Yeah.
I feel lucky to be here.
Well,
At 60 years old, I'm lucky to be here at all.
the funny part is, like, you don't even look 60. Like, you look like I'm going to be 50 next in 2 weeks. I have the same birthday as Elvis, if that makes a...
Well, that's good.
Is that? Yeah.
You don't look it.
Yeah.
I mean, 50.
I appreciate that. But, I have the same birthday as Elvis. He passed away. I have the same birthday as Soupy Sales, which has the same birthday. He passed away. David Bowie had the same birthday.
Happy.
He
Huh.
passed away. So I'm next.
Wow.
Anyway.
What a way to look at it.
All right, so Jeff, tell me, I think you're funny, and you got some good stories of things that have happened on the road. Tell me what qualifies you to be here. Why would we want to talk to Jeff West?
Well, I've been rattling around a while in the music world, and been in a lot of groups actually, going way back.
Well, I first met you in the Sun Demons back in like 1991 or something like that.
Yeah, 3. I think we
Yeah,
probably 93.
Yeah, playing at the Doll Hut like once a week
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
Sun
that
Demons.
was. They used to everybody would get their own night eventually. I mean, one time when we were a new band back then, if we weren't playing there, I was there 3 or 4 other nights out of it. It was like a big clubhouse kind of. It was really fun. And one time Dave and Deke couldn't do their show, so they suggested us to fill in.
Yeah.
Which eventually led to us getting our own night. I think first we opened for Big Sandy for a month full of Sundays, and then we
Yeah.
got our own weeknight or something. Those were really good days, though.
Well, I remember when I saw Big Sandy, and there was like a bunch of regulars there. They had a lady named the Rockin' Grandma. I remember would be
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And she was like 80 or something. And like they would have like her own intro music and everything when she would come up and do Salty Dog. I know like every week she'd do the same song. She'd do Salty Dog.
Yeah.
But I thought that was so cool. It's like, what is this old lady doing here? And then they'd start playing her intro, and then she'd walk up to the mic and do Salty Dog. And I'm like, that's so awesome.
It sounds like a night at the Hut.
It was like bringing people together.
It really was. Because everybody I still know and see now, it all kind of went back. I've known all the same people roughly about 25 years.
Yeah.
If not longer in the biz,
Yeah.
So as they say. But
I was looking at the Doll Hut like online now, and it's just it's punk. And I got nothing against punk. That's fun, But they don't have any kind of rockabilly or roots music or anything.
And for
going
a
on
while
over
there, it was really a hub for that.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I wasn't playing there, I was there anyway.
Yeah.
And then they'd close it, and like many a time, we'd be in there for hours, and the sun would be coming up at the end. Oh yeah, I could never pay for a Newcastle there either.
They just hand them to you. I thought it was like PBR is all they sold for like $1.
I don't know. The Sun Demons at least were all about Newcastle. I remember. And now I have the neck to prove it.
What, it swelled your neck?
No, something did. I don't know. I was always like a pencil neck geek.
Really?
I'm still thin all over, but that's where the beer caught up with me, I guess.
Is it stuck in your throat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyways, let's see. We're going to talk, that's what we want to do this show. We want to talk about old days and whatnot like that. And so, gosh, and then we're going to talk about some records. I see you brought a record, Jeff. We'll get into that in a minute. And then what we really want to do is kind of get some old stories going, and we want to hear from all of you guys, like of the stories that you had along at the same time. Like I know, like if anyone's listening to this, I'm sure you spent your time at the Doll Hut, and we want to know what happened with you over there. And then I wanted to tell a story. In fact, I'm going to start right now, Jeff. I'm going to tell my story. I used to be, this is going back to the 80s. And we were all in high school. We were in this, every group of guys had a rockabilly gang, okay? So there was like, who was it? Well, the biggest one was the Teds. And that was out of Irvine. And they were like legitimately kind of tough guys. Like their leader, Jim Radzik, was a boxer. And, they told all these stories of those guys taking out, a bunch of dudes at a party and stuff like that. Whatever. They were just guys they liked to rumble. And the rest of us were just kind of like, we wanted to look cool, but I don't think we really wanted to rumble, So I was in a group called the Wildcats. And so we used to go to Radio City, which is down in Buena Park, because there was only like 3 places you could hear music. Like when you're 17, like we really didn't drive to L.A. We'd go to Buena Park and go to Radio City. And what bands were there? That's the first time I saw T.K. Smith, too. He was in a band called the Stingrays. And he really impressed me because everyone else really wasn't that good on guitar. But like that guy, he knew like the whole...
Yeah, when was he never not good at
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I'm okay, this guy's like 19 years old, but he knows like Bill Haley Rock Around the Clock solo, like note for note.
Cliff Gallup solos.
Yeah.
I know.
And I'm all, where'd this guy come from, Like he was good back then, and he's all like good looking surfer dude and everything, But no, not that I cared for him. He's a handsome man, but
Yeah.
Anyway, why am I saying that? That's weird.
It's your story.
No, okay, I digress. So going back. So we used to go there, and our group, the Wildcats, there was our leader, Dan, was a big dude. And he would always get in a scuffle with the Teds. And my thing is that I think our group was kind of popular. We had like 80 guys in our gang, and we were kind of the fun guys and stuff. And then like, I don't know if like the Teds kind of got upset because, we had a lot of people in our group, but they were the cool guys. Supposedly they were like the coolest guys. And I think they kind of were. We'd always have rumbles. Like at Radio City, I remember like, oh man, you hear Dan just got punched in the face over there? And I go, yeah, man. And then, at every gig, there was always some kind of little scuffle, but it never really amounted to much. And so, break it down, like a year later, we'd all meet at Eisenhower Park in Orange, and on Wednesdays, I believe. And we just sit there and talk and try to be cool and whatnot like that, and initiate new members. And you just talk about music and how to comb our hair.
In public.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but then there's this rumor going around like, hey man, you heard Teds are mad at us and they want to rumble. And I'm all, well, I sure, I guess so. I'm a tough guy. I want to rumble too, And so anyway, I kid you not, like 10 minutes later, I look down, we're at the top of the hill. I look down at the bottom of the hill, and there's like 50 guys running up the hill towards us. And I'm looking at them, and I go, okay, it looks like we're going to have that rumble they're talking about. And I see Jim Radzik in front and a couple other dudes that I remember from the club. And then everyone else, like I'm all, what's that surfer dude doing there? And what's that guy doing? Like, it was like guys that had nothing to do with the scene, but they were like friends from high school.
They just wanted to rumble.
Yeah,
they were the real rumblers.
Yeah, they're all, hey, man, we're going to have a rumble. You want to come along? And they're all, yeah, sure, man. So anyways, these guys start coming up the hill, and Jim Radzik, runs. I remember he runs right up to Dan. He's all, you've been talking about the Teds. Well, now you're going to pay. And it was like the Outsiders,
Yeah, it sounds very scripted, that line.
Yeah. Like looking back now, I'm like, man, this is like a movie. So anyway, I'm not much of a fighter, dude. Some dude came up to me, and he tried to tackle me. And I'm not saying like I'm a great fighter, but I ended up getting the guy in a headlock, and I'm holding the guy down. And he had a bigger friend like coming at me, and he's like, hey, let him up. And I'm all, oh, okay, I'll let him up, because I didn't want to I thought that other guy was bigger and he was going to pound me. So I let this guy up because I thought I had him dead to rights, I let him up, and then he hits me. And I'm like, dude, I just had you on the ground. Why are you hitting me? So anyways, that's about how fast this rumble was. By the time that happened, I looked up, and there's Dan on the ground. He's all bloody. A couple other guys are on the ground bloody. And the Teds are like running away. And like our guys are all, yeah, like we beat them back. And I'm all, no, we just got beat down. And then they just took off, basically, is what happened. But our friend Robert, I remember him, he was there, and he was like pushing some dude away and yelling at him. And I was like, oh man, like Robert, you're like a really nice guy. But he flipped a switch, dude. And he turned into this like, aggressive.
Robert would be Big Sandy for you listeners out there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was this was pre-Big Sandy.
Right. I just thought I'd...
Yeah. But anyways, that was cool. Like that guy flipped the switch and turned into like full on like angry man, you know, which was cool. He's on our side. I appreciate that. You know,
you want him on your side.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's our story. And then after that, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, man, you see what I did? I really beat that guy down on Mall." No, man, we pretty much just got beat down. But you know, that's my story. But maybe I was on that side of the hill. If anyone else could tell their side.
You said 50 guys coming up the hill, the charge of the Pomp Brigade.
The Pomp Brigade.
You said it was movie-like. I was trying to think of a good movie title for that.
The Pomp Brigade? Yeah, dude, because everyone did have a pomp. It's like Aquanet pomp. It's like,
I was going back to your comment about knowing how to comb your hair and things.
Yeah, but it was big hair. Which I don't have any other stories about that other than
I
the
don't
fact
have any hair.
I have no more hair left. But
well, a little.
You have great hair. I wish I had your hair. I'd go to Hollywood. But you know, anyways, that's the whole story of that thing. But if anyone has any stories about that, I would mostly I want to hear what like Dan, if you're listening to this, I want to hear your side of the story of what happened to this whole thing. You know, it was kind of fun. Like looking back, it's kind of a cool story. You know, it was just like it's just fisticuffs. Yeah, it was just fisticuffs. It's not like like NWA or anything like that.
In case you thought it was just part of the whole scene, and you should be doing that.
Right? Yeah.
That's the part I think is funny about it. It's not that anyone particularly wanted to do that. It sounds like, except that one cat that was into boxing. You said.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, for our English listeners, it is Boxing Day today.
Is it?
So we give you a salute there.
What does that mean? I don't even know.
I'm not sure. I don't think it has anything to do with boxing, like with gloves.
Yeah.
But
the Boxer Rebellion.
It's the 26th. Maybe someone can tell us.
For someone from England.
I thought I'd point that out because hopefully we'll have listeners from all over the place.
Yeah, I think there's one guy on my Facebook I'll invite. He's from England. Never met him.
I know several English folks, but I never asked that question. I always see it on calendars.
Yeah.
Say Boxing Day.
Huh.
And it's 26th.
Yeah, no.
When I was a little kid, I thought it meant they boxed up all their ornaments from Christmas and put them away again. But I doubt that's it either.
That's pretty logical. Yeah. So, anyway, that's my story. I would like to get some response from that. Now, Jeff, you brought a story. That's what we're going to do. We're going to each do a story every show, and that was my story for this show. Jeff, what happened with you on the road? You said you had a bus story, and I'm curious to happen.
We used to, in Big Sandy and the Fly Right Boys, when I joined, they had a big Crown school bus.
Yeah.
Which was terrifying for me to drive. I've never driven anything. It was like driving a semi.
Well, what's a Crown school bus?
Well, it's like Crown makes fire trucks and everything.
Yeah.
So it had a 10-speed gearbox like a semi.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, so they're showing me how to drive the thing when I first joined the band, but they'd pull over like in Oklahoma on some like frontage road so I wouldn't hit anything and practice. Then it got to the point where I could do like stretches like out, away from towns and stuff.
Yeah.
But as used to it as I ever got, I never liked driving it in big cities. Like it was terrifying in like San Francisco, New York.
Oh, yeah.
Because this thing was like a half a block long. And anyway, we had it for years. It had its good points because you could buy furniture along the way because we went all over the U.S. and Canada.
So you're okay. So
and it had room to actually bring back couches.
So to reiterate, you're in a band. You're in Big Sandy and the Fly Right Boys, and you're touring the country in this giant bus. But you don't do the bus just for, because I always wondered, like, you guys could probably just get like a 10 or a 15-pass van and be happy.
I think that's what they got now.
Oh, do they?
Well, they got we did, but at the end of this story, you'll see how it segued into going there.
Okay, I'm curious.
But there was good. There was a lot of pluses about the bus because if you played it in a little venue that didn't have like a green room or a back room, you could always go on the bus, and then we had like clothes racks on there and bunks, and it was a place to go to.
Yes.
But anyway, we were on this Canadian tour one time. We'd been in the upper Northeast. We used to go away for like 6 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
But we were playing all these Edmonton Folk Festival and a bunch of these things. And we were having all this cooling system with trouble with that bus. And we were pouring tons of money into getting it fixed. And we had it one place and, dumped a bunch of money into it to get it. I think before we left on that trip, we had it fixed here. And anyway, what it was turning out was nobody was going to make that much money at the end of this tour with all this.
Because all going into the bus?
Yeah. So we're up in Canada. It starts doing that again. So we were headed to Vancouver, and we were like in one of the eastern provinces. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
And we get about just a little ways out on the highway, and it starts to do it after it had already been at this bus shop, right?
Yeah.
So we had to go back, rent 2 rental cars, mad dash it all the way to Vancouver. We barely got there.
Yeah.
And Big Sandy and Bobby Trimble and everybody, Jimmy Roy, who was from Rayconda, was playing steel with us by that time. He stayed there, and the other 2 guys flew home because that was the last gig of the tour.
Yeah.
But Ashley and I had to take these 2 rental cars back and go get the bus and somehow limp it back to,
Yeah.
they were still fixing it again. So we go pick it up. And we get as far as like Montana, and it starts to do all this. And, we're in mountains and stuff.
Yeah.
And in fact, I was driving, and I see the thermostat go way up, and so I just got it over.
Yeah.
And it was steaming. It sounded like it was going to just blow up. And we're like, it's pitch black out there, and this is like, there's grizzly bears and junk, and it's just black. And it was too far to walk back to this little town that wasn't much of anything. So the next day, that's what we did do when it was daylight. And so
you slept in the bus and walked back?
Yeah. That's about all we could do. It was
Oh my God.
And so we go back, and we had to make a band decision. We'd already dumped a lot in the bus. So we went to this sort of a bus graveyard, junkyard place. And this guy tried to even sell us another used bus. And we kind of we each talked ourselves out of that, figuring the same. We could get 200 miles down the road, and we just got another busted bus.
Yeah.
So we decided to just junk it. But there was all this stuff on the bus because the 2 guys that flew home left all their gear. And, there's records and all. So we spent a whole day. We got a big U-Haul.
Yeah.
One of those really long ones.
Yeah.
And spent better part of a day, like, taking everything out and putting it on that thing. And then he and I had to get it. And we were the only married guys in the band. And we're, like, out all the whole week after the 6-week tour. And anyway, Robert, your Big Sandy, calls up Ashley while we're doing this, and he asked Ashley, "How's Jeff taking all this?" And I said, "So sad to watch good bus go bad," because I'm a big Everly Brothers fan. And anyway, we got it home, but we had all this. When we unloaded the U-Haul, nobody had room at either of their houses. So my driveway was full of this stuff tarped over until everybody eventually came and. Anyway, that's my big bus.
You guys are like musicians, professional pickers. Like you would go through, like you would actually go through all these towns and.
Oh, that was one of the great parts of it. I mean, I loved all that stuff.
Yeah, just like records and
you name it. And then it was like I said, we had enough room if somebody bought a chair or something, or another upright bass. There was room to actually do stuff like that, but. There was a lot of good points to the bus, but when it broke real expensive.
Yeah. So now, if anyone ever wants to like reclaim the Big Sandy bus,
it's somewhere in Montana. I Ashley might be able to actually tell you the exact. If you can help us, Ashley, let us know.
I want to hear. So you had the bus. So you say that people now they kind of equated Big Sandy with the bus, right?
For a long time, because remember, way after we did go to a van, which was. More affordable to keep on, people would quite often do that, like from the crowd, like at the show. What happened to the bus, So now they know.
But that's kind of like the way it goes too, because like it's like when I was a kid. Well, when I was in high school and we were all into the vintage scene and stuff, like I had a '55 Ford pickup with a 350 turbo trans. It was a cool truck. It was kind of beat down a little bit. But I'd love to drive that thing all over the place.
Great body style.
Oh, it was red.
Don't get me going on a car. That would turn into a whole other segment on this
thing. I know, dude. But I know that you had that Edsel.
I had a couple
Edsel wagon. That was red. But here's the problem: is like I love this, and I love the style. But you think, okay, here's my '55 Ford pickup truck, and it gets like 8 miles to the gallon, and there's no power steering. And I'm afraid to drive to L.A. in this thing because I'm afraid it's going to break down. And so, like, eventually, like, you just kind of give way to, like, I want to drive this thing, but forget it, dude. I'm just going to go ahead and get the Toyota, Yeah.
Well, it's reasonable.
It's kind of a sad thing, but,
Well, those were, mine were good drivers back in the day.
Yeah.
I'd take those anywhere. I mean, they were, I knew where they were at underneath to where I could do
Yeah.
that. I can't now. They're not in that shape now.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I got a 50 Ford that's still pretty good driver, but people drive, they look in their laps all the time, and then they rove in and out of lanes. They're not drunk. They're on their phone. I mean, they're
Yeah.
texting. That's one reason I don't enjoy my old cars like I did.
Oh, like but like those
Yeah.
cars are like have like crumple like fenders, so they just like kind of like bounce off your car. Like because if you have like an old car, like for example, like I had my
But
50.
you don't want that.
Well, like I had my 55 Ford pickup, and I remember I'm driving, and then I saw Pete Stearns walking on the street. He was in that Rockabilly gang too, and he's like walking in on the street, and he's like, "Hey, Tom," and I'm like, "Hey," and like I look up and I rear end this other car,
Yikes.
and then and I skidded, and I boom, and like I hit it, and I had like, there was not a scratch on my car, dude. It dented his car, but like that's when you have those old
No,
cars,
I
it's
know
like
what
a
you
tank,
mean.
you know?
Yeah. And yeah, the Edsels were big. That little Ford's a lot smaller. And I had a little Studebaker that was really dinky and actually got really good mileage. It was a Flathead 6, which is where that
The
Sun
song.
Demon song
Yeah, I
came
remember
from.
that Flathead 6 song. Really? I thought that was Dan's song. I didn't know you wrote that.
No, he's lead sang it. I
Oh.
sang harmony, but I wrote it. Yeah.
Oh, right. That was a good song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it was about that little 50.
We're going to divide this show into segments. We just did old stories. That was one segment. Now this next segment is Song of the Week.
Song of the week, because favorite song is impossible.
Yeah.
I cannot pick. Even per style, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I got too many records, and it's well, you can never have too many records, but
Yeah. So
but I'm a huge Everly nut, and this is way up there on my list of their stuff.
Yeah.
And as I read about it, I guess Phil said it was their favorite song to sing on stage. So,
Really?
yeah,
Those guys have good hair.
they got great hair.
Man, I wonder if they still have it. Like that's a lot of Aquanet, but that's like they didn't use Aquanet back then. Let me see. So where did you get this record at?
I don't know where I picked up that copy because I had other copies, and
Yeah.
then I finally ran into the picture sleeve one, which it's in good shape.
And that's what you guys would get on the road all the time?
Hopefully, you looked for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was just Christmas, and one time in Phoenix in a Goodwill store found Green Christmas by Stan Freberg, and it was the picture sleeve on green vinyl.
Yeah.
So that was a good Christmas find. But yeah, I was always looking for that kind of.
I don't know, you
Big
dug-
Sandy too. He was always looking for that stuff.
That guy's kind of outspoken when it comes to
Oh,
like
yeah.
music history. I remember like
Oh yeah.
I remember him talking like at Fullerton College we had a history of rock and roll class, and I remember he went there and he was taking a class, and like he would get in arguments with the teacher all the time, like over what really a mojo was, you know.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times books on all that stuff, there's glaring errors in them and have been for years. Like those so-called Rolling Stone, put out by Rolling Stone.
Yeah,
books.
yeah.
God, there's tons of it. Especially when they talk about 50s and pre-60s music, they make a lot of mistakes in them.
Yeah.
Like I think one of them, the encyclopedia one, it had a British Invasion chapter, and I'm a big British Invasion fan.
Yeah.
And it had Peter and Gordon, and it said Chad and Jeremy underneath it, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Anyway, they had it wrong.
Yeah.
Just because they were two English guys, and one had glasses with the Gibsons, but that's a pretty glaring error for like
Yeah.
an authoritative so-called source, you know.
Yeah. Well, it says Rolling
So
Stones. you can say
I'm
that.
sure he got into arguments with that instructor, and I would have
Yeah.
put my money on Big Sandy with that one.
Yeah. Well, him and there's another guy back in the day like Jason Goodman, and like
Oh yeah, I know Jason.
yeah, and like I'll be honest, like in 1983 and stuff, like I'm all into the music, and I'll be honest, like I had like my mom had an old box of records when I was a kid, and it had like Elvis and House of Bamboo by was it Paul Anka or whatever, like some other cool songs, some Bobby Darin and stuff. So I loved that as a kid, and then when in the 70s, I got into like, boy, I really love Aerosmith. But then, in 81, like the Stray Cats came out, and I'm, oh, that's really cool. So I started listening to music like that. Then I tried to get into like the English groups like Polecats, and there was like the Milkshakes and some other bands. But then I met Jason Goodman, and like that guy, like that guy knew old music.
The source stuff.
Yeah, like he had dug back, and he's all, you know who Django Reinhardt is? And I'm all, who is this guy? Like he turned me on to Django. He turned me on to like all this, and I only knew the guy for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but him and Robert would hang out all the time, and he,
Yeah, we used to see him when we go through New Orleans on the road.
yeah,
And he'd get up and play with us and stuff too.
he's.
Go to his house, play records.
It was weird. Is like with the time he was like a 15-year-old kid who knew all this stuff. It was like a savant.
He was driven.
Yeah, it's weird. Hey,
Probably driven around by his folks at the time too.
No, actually, I was supposed to drive him one time. I felt so bad. Like we were supposed to go to Levi Dexter's house for his birthday party, because Jason knew him, and I was in that '55 Ford pickup, and I got there and it started like overheating, and so I felt bad. I'm all, dude, like he was all ready to go, and I wanted to go, and I feel bad about that.
They could do surprise things like that. That's one thing about old cars.
Yeah, whatever.
Got to troubleshoot them.
Yeah.
Or just shoot them.
See, if I would have had if I would have had a Toyota, it would have been. I wouldn't go to Levi Dexter's house in a Toyota. Forget it. It's either my old car. Or
Park
nothing.
on the next block and stuff.
Walk over. I got a '55 Ford pickup. Okay, I digress. Wait, now, so we're gonna go over So Sad. Let's roll this thing.
Yeah. Okay.
What? Don't tell me about it. So why is this such a good record?
It's beautiful. It's one of those. I just think it's a lovely, one of their best songs. They use always the Nashville A-Team guys on the record, so they're always like brilliantly played.
Yeah.
And produced well, and I don't think you can beat anybody for singers for these guys.
No,
but
I'm curious, like on these guys, do you think that they were like doing multiple takes, but they wouldn't punch in like they do now? They probably did
they
whole
just
song.
did a lot of because I've got collections of stuff like that, and there's a lot of alternate versions.
Yeah.
And they're always all great.
Really?
Yeah. You'll hear like go, why didn't they put that one out? Or,
Yeah.
Like on Poor Jenny, there was one that almost had like this ska kind of guitar part on it.
Yeah.
It's but they're worth doing some digging into and listening to. But So Sad is it is sad, but it's beautiful, and I don't know, it's just one of my favorites. And I guess according to Phil, it was one of theirs too. Yeah.
We used to have good times together, but now I feel them slip away. It makes me cry to see love die. So sad to watch good love go bad. Remember how you used to feel, dear. You said nothing could change your mind. It breaks my heart to see us part. So sad to watch good love go bad. Is it any wonder that I feel so blue when I know for certain that I'm losing you? Remember how you used to feel, dear. You said nothing could change your mind. It breaks my heart to see us part. So sad to watch good love go bad. So sad to watch good love go bad.
Don wrote that his first marriage was breaking up, and he said one of many. I can relate to that too. But it's very everything they did, even whatever song it was always sounded like so from the heart like that. But that bridge part is my favorite bit on it too. That little short bridge. But
I love that. I love like the tasty licks on the guitar. that
oh
they do,
yeah,
like-
well, they had the A-teamers and they always had
yeah, and like
really good, never too much
Yeah.
going on.
'Cause
Let
you-
the song breathe.
because those guitar players, they could probably pack it full of 100 notes and just
Right.
like, get crazy.
Don't
but
need
they-
100 notes.
No, they just do the right notes at the right time. Like that's when it sounds good. And it's hard to find that.
especially with a good tune.
Yeah.
You need that song to breathe
Yeah.
instead of being choked out by,
I know guitar players all. Hey, there's 3
I can
seconds
do
in
this
there.
and I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna sell the record if
It's
I do
called
this.
taste, fellas. We actually got to open for them, which is
Wait, what?
yeah.
You opened for
that
the
was a
Everly
huge,
Brothers.
Yes, and I watched them. It was one of those surreal moments because I watched from the wings when they did that, and
Yeah.
I cried.
Really?
I'm not afraid to say it. It was surreal. It was
Oh, that's
just
awesome.
like being on the Grand Ole Opry was surreal
Yeah.
too. But that's another story for another
Yeah.
time. But Bobby Trimble and I had bought tickets to see them in Anaheim, and a week later, Alan Larman, our manager then, told us that we were going up Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
We were going to open for the Everly Brothers in Salem, Oregon. And I go, we just bought these tickets, and I'd already seen them a few times.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
a nut for years, and
Yeah.
and anyhow, I couldn't believe that. And we actually did.
That's awesome.
And we had the story's true. They had dressing rooms at opposite sides of the venue because they had this rep of not getting along.
Yeah.
So Bobby and I brought records to get signed. I
Yeah.
did that whenever I could if I knew we were going to play with someone.
Uh-huh.
We did it with George Jones and a bunch of folks, but we had to go to either ends of the thing.
Really?
To get to get them. I got my Cadence Greatest Hits one signed by Phil and Don. Yeah.
Just listening to that, then I listened to your band, the Whitwoods, and it has that same. You could tell the influence, especially with like Gene on guitar. He does like that same thing, just like cool little
he's
licks,
as big a
and not.
fan as me. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I got mean to like name drop, but I was hanging out with Paul McCartney. No, I wasn't. I went to see his concert. I paid like $300 for it. But
Yeah.
anyways, no, and he was saying the song "And I Love Her," and he's all, I wrote the song. It's a great song. He's all, but the truth is, what sells the song is the lick that George Harrison came up with in the studio. And I'm all, dude, it's just a couple notes, but he's right.
Yeah.
You could be like some great player and do all sorts of stuff, but it wouldn't sell to the human brain, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm no doctor.
That's yeah. Well, when you got good songs, I mean, that's what needs to come through. So
Yeah.
it's about less playing a lot of times,
Yeah. I love that.
I even like instrumentals that are with like a basic thing, like a Dwayne Eddy thing. It isn't really anything, it's a melodic, repetitive thing that gets in your head.
Well, like Rumble. I love
Yeah.
Rumble by Link Ray.
Oh,
That's
Link,
just
yeah.
all,
Yeah.
it sounds all tough and everything. It's just simple.
He signed one of my basses before.
Dude, you met everybody.
Well, I met a lot of folks. That was another fun thing about all that.
That's right.
You mentioned the Whitwoods. I just
Yeah.
want to let everybody know.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got a double linked. It's CD. I didn't have a budget for vinyl, but
Yeah.
that came out this past fall.
So
It's Jeff West and the Whitwoods.
so you
Too
have
many sides.
You have a band, right?
I do have a band.
Okay.
I'm still alive, folks.
But you're not playing bass anymore.
I can't play the
Why
bass
can't you play
anymore.
bass?
Okay, I will explain that once and for all on a radio thing.
Okay,
And
yeah.
most people have got the story in the wind, but
Yeah.
I had an older nerve as your elbow. Like, this is a thing that baseball pitchers and tennis players and orchestral bass players get, and it's like carpal, only about 10 times worse. Because anyway, I had a operation on it
Yeah.
and healed up and was able to go back for 3 years playing the bass again.
Yeah.
And when it goofed up on me a second time, they can't go back in. There's too much nerve damage from the initial operation.
Yeah.
And then if they went back in, it's good chances that total paralysis on that. And I
Oh, my
said, well,
gosh,
screw
whoa,
that. You know,
yeah.
it's not an option.
Yeah.
So basically, I had to give it a rest again, and I tried play, but anything involving the reach with your pinky and the finger next to it is
Yeah.
all linked up to that elbow, your ulnar
Yeah.
nerve. And so anytime I would try to do anything like that, the whole condition would repeat. But I found that I could play rhythm guitar, which is the way I always wrote songs anyway.
Yeah.
I could do that, and
Yeah.
and that was slow, but I got that back, and because I used to make demos and where I'd play everything. So anyway, that's what I'm doing now, and I play harmonica on a rack. And
Yeah, no, it sounds good. Like I listened to the
thanks.
CD, it sounds more like it's not really. It's more rootsy, and it sounds more like traveling music. You know, it's
yeah,
like
it's like it owes more to the early '60s than the '50s,
Yeah.
early to mid '60s. It's got folk kind of pop
well,
influences.
each song has a story to it, so that's kind of cool. You know.
Yeah, and some of those are like songs I've written over a span of a lot of years because I've been writing since I've been playing, which was I was about 13,
Yeah.
and I'm 60 now.
Wow, like, wow, you look good, man, for 60. That's amazing. Did they
Well, I quit smoking 12 years ago.
and that
So
helped.
kids, don't start.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't know if I'd be here. I was terrible when I quit too. I was like way up there.
Really.
It was all that hurry up and wait stuff,
Yeah.
and driving the bus on night shifts where I'd chain smoke and
Just all in the front of the bus is filled with smoke,
pretty much
like a hazer,
yeah, all kinds of smoke.
with Bobby Trimble in the back.
Yeah,
His kind of smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Bobby.
Right. So,
Hope
anyways,
you're listening.
so that's that for. How do we digress from that to from records to that? That's okay. All right, Jeff. So we're back. So you
Okay.
did your record. What? It's So Sad by the Everly Brothers. You know what, man? Like you are a better record student than I am. I was just kind of going along online, and here's one of the things. I found this song. Who is it? Marcel Bontempi or whatever. Dig a Hole.
Yeah.
And I dig this song because, no pun intended, dig it. but it's like it's an old it's an old folk song that he bopped it up,
It's cool.
and the way that he did it was like it's just so raw, and
Yeah, it's great. A good feel on it.
and it sounds like how come like European dudes like have that, like they must study the tone.
They're real anal about it.
Yeah.
Like, more than the worst guy over here.
Yeah.
I mean, no, we have to copy that mistake. Like if it was like
Really?
a 2-bar mistake on something.
Yeah.
They'll go to great length, which is harder to play because it's like a little out of time or cut
Yeah.
off or something. I've
Yeah.
seen guys over there do stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always got a kind of a kick out of it. I like the idea behind that.
Yeah.
Because they're real serious and it means a lot to them. But
Yeah.
that struck me as funny, copying mistakes that are actually hard to execute.
Yeah, it's funny, but for some reason I like that. Like I like it sounding so raw.
Oh, that
You know?
that record there
Yeah. Let me
has
spin
it
this
in
and see.
spades. There.
Here we go.
I dig a hole in the meadow. I dig a hole in the cold, cold ground. I dig a hole in the meadow. I gonna lay down and Corey down. Well, first time I saw her Dolly Corey, and she was sitting by the deep blue sea. She had a 44 round her body and a banjo on her knee. I dig a hole in the meadow. I dig a hole in the cold, cold ground. I dig a hole in the meadow. I gonna lay down and Corey down. Pow! Wake up, oh Dolly Corey. What makes you sleep so sound? Well, the country robbers are coming. They're gonna tear your playhouse down. I dig a hole in the meadow. I dig a hole in the cold, cold ground. I dig a hole in the meadow. I gonna lay down and Corey down. Yeah, pow! Dolly Corey down. I dig a hole, I dig a hole. For the country robbers are coming. They're gonna lay Dolly Corey down. I dig a hole in the middle. I dig a hole in the middle. We gotta lay Dolly Corey down. I dig a hole in the
That's a
middle.
gooder.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It reminds me of when I was a Billy Bopper, too. I can hear
Oh,
Ramblin' James.
Ramblin'
yeah.
James
yeah.
and the Billy Bopper. You in that group too?
I was, yeah.
Oh, rad. Yeah, I mean, like, that's what if I may lament a little bit, like, I wish that there were like new bands coming up with that kind of stuff. You know, I don't know. It's like I worry about it sometimes. Like, you go to the gigs and like, everyone is older and they're better. Like the bands are so good now. Like Belfries, man, just
Yeah,
amazing. Like,
great songs.
and you listen to
great
that
players.
stuff, and I'm all,
Uh,
how come that band isn't like top? Like on the country charts or something like that.
Yeah,
It's really weird.
Those things have always escaped me.
Yeah, like
and the biggest junk in the world is like huge. I don't know.
that's strange. But I think like young guys coming up, there's some cool bands like that. Paul, he's gigging a lot, and there's a lot of other guys that are getting it going. I just love it. But I love it like when it just takes. There's a big difference between just like playing and like doing it just perfect or doing it right. Like I remember, like. I hate to keep talking about like Big Sandy and stuff like that, but I remember like when they first started out, and then like then they went on the road, when it was the trio, and they came back and like they were like so tight. It was like like something happened and they just got professional. It was rad. Like I love that when that happens to a band.
Yeah.
And you can't put a time limit on it. It just happens, and it's like magic.
Yeah, there's nothing like roading it for a while that'll do that. Yeah. If you get a new guy, I mean, that's the best thing in the world. Go bang it around for a while,
Yeah.
and live kind of, because you do live together. It's like your family.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
why I miss all that so much. It was such a big part of my life. And,
Yeah. No, you did
and,
it.
I still see, see Robert and
Yeah.
and people want to, and it's always great. But I will always miss that,
Yeah. Well, you're still making music.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so that's what we're going to do with the West Coast Ramble. That's pretty much the end of our show. So next week, what do you got going up? Your band planned, or are you going to see any gigs? What's going on?
We're between bassists right now. Russell Scott, the last gig 2 days ago,
Yeah.
he stepped in and helped us out, he's an old friend too.
Yeah, he's a great
And
player.
a great player. Well, I was able to book the show because Bobby left in November, and
Yeah.
I'm listening to a few different people now, and we
Yeah.
haven't got a regular guy.
Yeah.
So as a result, I don't have a regular next thing. But if you go to the Whitwood, Jeff West and the Whitwood Facebook thing,
Yeah.
that'll have all the updates. But
Cool.
I think Russell's gonna continue to play with us when he's able to until that happens. So
Yeah.
we're not gonna just stop.
Yeah.
So.
Now, Jeff, I want to do a little bit of laundry here on the West Coast Ramble. What West Coast Ramble I tried to do is I tried to show like music, like roots music, and then like kind of people in the roots scene and stuff, like things that I thought were interesting. And one of the things I did, if you looked at the West Coast Ramble, I did a bit with your band, and then I went over to TK Smith's house out in the desert, and I got him playing guitar. If you see the West Coast Ramble, there's a deal of him playing some guitar.
Good.
And but the truth is, when I went out to his house, it wasn't to do just TK playing guitar, which you have to do when you go out there. But I went to go see his house because I don't know if you know it, but like TK is like a strange dude, like pleasantly strange to me.
Yeah. No, I
because he's
got
like
your meaning. Yeah.
because he like everything he does
He
is
can
like
do everything.
yeah, he can do. He's like a jack of all trades, but he does everything to perfection. He's got a mid-century house out there in the desert, and him and his wife just redid the whole house. But he did, like, when I say redid, like he did all the woodwork, all the cabinets. He built a lot of the furniture that's in the house. And
That's amazing.
Like the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the kitchen, all this stuff. And I thought, man, I want to document this. Like, only a couple of people really get to enjoy it. If they go over to his house, you get to enjoy how cool it looks. And so I videoed this segment of him showing around the house. But I'll be honest, I'm kind of like intimidated. Like I'm almost done with it. I kind of do it on my spare time, and I got it all done. But I got to show it to TK. I don't know if he's gonna like it.
Well, I came over here looking at all because this is the first time at your new place I've been to, and I thought to me, you're like that. You're like TK is to you. That's the impression I got. He did all this. You know?
Yeah, but it's not to the perfection that TK is, man.
Everything I rig up sort of looks like the Little Rascals did or something.
No, that's cool though. I like going to. No.
I'll never play hooky again.
No, and your house is cool because it's got all the, it's like going into, like, if you've been to Old Town Orange and you go to like those antique stores,
Yeah.
like you have your house is like the antique store that you wish they had there.
Mildew and everything.
Mildew.
No. No, it's pretty clean.
Yeah, no, it
I
is.
don't dust as well as I should.
It's clean, but you have like toys from like way back when, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Same with the record. I've
Why
got
is
records
that?
I had that I've hung on to since I started record collecting at about 7. So.
But it's weird. It's like you're not a hoarder, but you're like interesting. Like you have, I don't know, maybe like you never grew up. Like you have like a gene or something that made you never grow up.
The
Something
Peter
like-
Pan syndrome or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
I
don't
do
know.
eat a lot of peanut butter.
I think that was just marketing. I think that had nothing to do with Peter Pan.
Yeah. No.
So, anyways, eventually I'm gonna get that thing done with TK, and I think you guys will like it. America and other people who will see it.
Yeah. Well, I liked what I saw.
Yeah.
Because I know, but he is an amazing fellow as far as that
Yeah.
a man for all kind of things and all that.
And I'm just intimidated because I'm afraid I'm gonna like put the wrong thing in the video. Like I'll be all, well, this looks more like not mid-century, but this, like he'd be like, Tom, that's mid-century. How could you say that?
Yeah.
Like he would get all mad, or he wouldn't say anything. That's the hard part. He would
Cut. Yeah.
Walk out. Yeah, well, with this show, I would like to get some other bands in here. I'd like
be
to get
great.
some guys. Hey, if you have a band, you want to play a couple songs on our show, come in and we have a studio here. We could do the whole thing.
A nice studio.
It is nice, Jeff. I don't mean to boast, but it's nice,
Doesn't look like the Little Rascals built.
No, but you have cool posters and stuff in your studio. I just have like velvet that I got at Tall Mouse Fabric Store.
You better like it.
Yeah, no, and I went in there and I bought the stuff, and like you guys thought, what are you making? Like a good King Wenceslas robe or something like that?
For a really big guy.
No, I'm a man. I'm building a studio, and they're like, yeah, whatever.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, man. So and then like New Year's is coming up, and that Dawn the Beachcomber, they have James Hetfield is playing.
And Big Sandy and Ramblin' James.
Santiago Grande is playing.
And I think Rosie Flores, another friend. of
Ramblin'
mine.
James, that guy's still playing.
Oh, yeah. They do occasionally, yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, that's a good bill. And then I think they added Rosie, too.
Oh, right
Who's
on.
another good friend of mine, too.
Yeah. So that's the place where all the gigs are happening nowadays.
Yeah, they book they do put good shows together there.
Yeah. Well, someone's got to do it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, since Matt moved up north that was doing those Corona shows,
Yeah.
that left a huge void.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
But those were terrific shows.
Yeah,
really
great
well
shows.
thought out and
Yeah.
with who he put with who and whatnot.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that's it for West Coast Ramble this week. Come by next week, and we're going to do it again. And right on the Facebook, if you guys have any ideas, plans, or know of any bands that want to play, or if you have your favorite song that you can put your vote in on. I don't know. I want to hear. I'd like to learn new music from you guys out there. Like, what is a good song, and who you've been listening to? Because I don't know. Where are you going to find this stuff?
I know. There's always unknown things that are terrific
Yeah, I love it.
and well-known things that aren't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Just
no.
kinda,
You're just
I'm
an honest man.
if nothing else.
You're an honest man. All right, so that's West Coast Ramble, episode 1. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. I'm Tom.
I'm Jeff.
All right, see you next week.
Bye.